It is Friday. RawMikeRichards.com. Those watching on the dedicated YouTube channel. By the way, to make it easy for yourself, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And as always, subscribe to RawMikeRichards.com. Coming up in a couple of weeks, I would say an announcement that will change a lot of things. Not only how we look, how the show's actually going to be. We're pretty thrilled about it. That's going to come up. If you're not part of the Richards Army, you're going to miss out. Seriously. So do it.
Ooh, good voiceover.
Yeah, that's just like in the DJ DJ Styles Day.
Yeah.
Do it. Although it reminds me a little bit of that put on voice that, you know, we are going for something holiday. Remember that song was based on Holiday? That Holiday. It was DJ Mikey and some shit guy. I don't know. It was the worst. We are going on a summer holiday. I'm like, okay, Europeans, there's certain things you do good. That's not one of them. I don't want to hear you attempting rap. You know, it's like Falco. By the way, nice ending for him.
Oh.
Run over by a truck backing up.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
No.
Beep, beep.
You didn't hear it?
What is that? Is that the Commissar?
That's a good song.
Yeah. Beep, beep. Not anymore, Dave. Not anymore. Bye-bye, Falco. Or as they like to say, Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh.
Or he would say, Auf Wiedersehen. Auf Wiedersehen, Falco. Rock me Amadeus to stop the truck from backing up. Beep. Yeah. Don't rock me, Amadeus. How about we fucking work on the brakes, Amadeus? Brake, Amadeus. Brake, Amadeus. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's not get off the track. Aaron Roy, by the way, is coming in. So if you're a Stampede fan, if you're someone who follows PBR, so the pro bull riders, we've got a real, like, amazing guy coming in studio. And I like a lot of bull riders, they're humble, they're down to earth, and they are tough as nails. You know, Dave, we talk about other sports where it's like, well, we got to throw the flag to see if there was, intentional targeting, to see if someone got boarded or not. When you watch bull riding, you really don't need the replay.
Nope.
Because when you go down, when something's after you, there's no mailing it in bull riding. It is one hell of a tough sport, and if you've never seen it live, you should. If you're in Toronto, and you're tonight, down at Ricoh Coliseum.
Yep, tomorrow night.
Or tomorrow night, rather.
Tomorrow night,
rather. It is fascinating, and of course, it's like 8 seconds at a time.
Yes.
And now they have the gear. You don't really see guys without basically a hockey helmet. You do now, so Aaron's going to come in the studio. But there's so much to talk about, and before we get to the NBA draft, we're taking a look at the entry draft happening in Chicago. And it would have been fun to be there, because I also think that in the moves that you're seeing, there's a lot of jockeying around for position. Of course, we saw a lot of it yesterday, Dave, where you see Jordan Eberle, who I believe for a while has been shopped around. Can we at least say that for at least the last year, this is just the right fit that Chiarelli was looking at, and Strome now going back to Edmonton. But what do you think about Jordan Eberle and John Tavares? I mean,
do you know what? Friends off the ice too, which is really going to help. Here's that trade in a nutshell. Oilers wanted to dump some heavy salary. They do it because they gotta sign a couple players. And guess what? There's a guy named Connor McDavid that is possibly up for renewal on July the 1st because they want to get it done now. So there's a little bit of money saved there. On the other side, Ryan Strome still has a lot of life in him. It's a cheaper contract, and he needed a change of scenery as well. If he goes to a young Oiler club situated with players around his age and so forth, I see a potential breakthrough as well. I think it's a great trade for both teams for two different reasons.
Yeah.
And from the Oilers, the Islanders standpoint, Jordan Eberle going over there shows John Tavares that the Islanders will try to build around him. John Tavares has one more year left on his contract, and as of July the 1st, you're going to start hearing the same rumors that we heard here in the city of Toronto when Steven Stamkos was in that situation, and Stamkos took 11 months, 10 months to actually sign that deal. Same thing for John Tavares, because get used to it, but you're going to be hearing, is John Tavares signing with the Leafs next year? Is he signing with the Leafs next year?
And I totally get it. And it might even make more sense if you're talking about John Tavares as opposed to
Steven
Stamkos.
Stamkos. Completely.
We had him in studio actually, and I'm gonna try to attempt to reach out to him again because I thought he was really good on the show. He's a pretty soft-spoken guy.
Yep.
But he's from a very interesting family, a very successful family. You know, it just shows, it rubs off, and it certainly has on the younger of the John Tavarases, which, yes, there's more than one.
There's a couple of them.
And his uncle is like one of the greatest lacrosse players who ever played into his 40s. He's like the George Blanda of lacrosse. He's the Gordie Howe of lacrosse, I guess is probably how I would put it. And still in excellent shape. And as the young John Tavares said, if I were to ask both of you who's the better athlete, young John Tavares said, well, my uncle will say he is. It's just kind of how it is. Also, before we get sort of tangled into what could happen potentially in the draft, it looks like the shenanigans, and yes, I'm using that word shenanigans, in Arizona again. So ownership, and I don't know, I almost hate Dave talking about anything to do with the Coyotes. So you see Shane Doan, the face of their organization, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Smith, I believe, is also gone.
Yep.
But when you look at a guy like Dave Tippett and the level of coaching and just probably how valuable he is when he is told that he's getting the gate, when he's getting that pink slip or the manila envelope, how you want to put it. By the way, he'll be fine with it. He'll take his cash, and then within, a year or so, he's going to pick the place he wants to go to, and anybody, and I mean anybody, would be thrilled to have Dave Tippett. No salad days for him. No tag days. He will be completely fine. But I look and going, okay, Arizona, now what the fuck are you up to? Well, what now? Is it because of the arena deal? And now we have to put up with more stories about Arizona and their arena. And,
getting really tired of this.
And Gary Bettman going, well, we're trying to take a look at the market. And,
yeah. We're sitting there on the eve of draft night, and the Arizona Coyotes have no coaching staff, no starting goaltender, no captain, no president or CEO, and no number one center. But they're going to enter this draft and try to pick out some sort of lineup. The sad part is, if you want to Torontoize it, Canadianize it a little bit, Owen Tippett is expected to go to Arizona at the number 7 pick. There's been a number of mock drafts that say he's the guy heading there.
Okay, but here's something. We happen to know Owen Tippett.
Yes.
I also not hating the fact that you could go down and see someone you know in Phoenix.
so you're kind of looking at it from
wait a minute, I'm changing
your perspective.
I'm flip-flopping it now. Well, this is a tremendous move. But honestly, teams like this drive me nuts because whenever we talk about them, for the most part, it's not about on ice. It's not about the accomplishments of their players. It's to do with the league. It's to do with leases, future of franchises. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying I'm anti having a franchise in a place like that. That's not what I'm saying. If you've ever been to any of those places, and Dave, you've been all the arenas, but when you go and see hockey in the South, and you get out, and the sun's still up, and it's warm,
yes,
and girls are going, "Hey, y'all." Well, Russell, you know what I'm talking about. You love the hey, y'all. You live for the hey, y'all. That doesn't suck. It really doesn't. And so it's like, okay, can we get over the fact that, we're Canadians and we believe, maybe even rightfully so, that the game is ours. We play it better than anyone else. We have more players in the league, and I'm with you on that. But it's okay to go to Tampa and walk out and live in that environment. So I think we have to stop hating on that. I think, like, even Nashville. Don't hate on Nashville.
No.
It's a fun and fabulous place to go. But if I had to keep talking about Nashville and their financial woes, and yet another change in ownership, and this kind of garbage, I'm tired of that too. Arizona exhausts me.
Bingo. Let's cue up some music. I want to give you some possible Dave Tippett destinations where teams should be kind of sitting there going, how fast do we pull the trigger on our guy to get that guy? I got a top 5. There we go.
That's exciting music.
There you go. I got a top 5.
Hold on, Dave.
Plus 2 long shots.
Top 5 teams Dave Tippett could go to in the National Hockey League.
Okay.
Here's Dave Bastel.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, live voiceover guy. Number 5, you know what, in no particular order, but we'll start at 5. We'll go Colorado Avalanche just because they don't know what they're doing there.
Yeah.
They really don't know what they're doing there. So something has to jive there. If I'm Dave Tippett, I'm saying no thank you. Number 4, Carolina Hurricanes. They're starting to tinker a little bit. Bill Peters is already entering his 3rd season there. Something gives after 3 years with coaching staffs. We've seen it before with many other teams. Look for Carolina. I hate to say this, but the Winnipeg Jets. Paul Maurice is on thin ice.
Dave.
I like him. I know.
How does it always come back to Winnipeg? Just how?
Because this is a very underachieving team that should be doing better. So hot seat Paul Maurice. Philadelphia Flyers and Dave Haxtell. A lot of prospects, but no playoffs. So something's got to give in Philly as well.
Right now in the early analysis of what you've done,
Yep.
just selfishly as a hockey fan, I don't want to see Colorado. As much as I like the Carolina girls, I can't do that. But boy, Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
That would make things interesting. There you go, Alex. That should make you happy. I want to see him in Philadelphia.
Exactly. And my other destination in the top 5 is Boston, because Bruce Cassidy is entering his 1st year. He's on thin ice as far as, you know what, they weren't even sure if they were going to hire him as a full-time head coach when they got rid of Claude Julien and so forth. So he's in, but it's not like it's a 5-year contract. And if something doesn't work out, Cam Neely seems to be quick to fix things if it doesn't work out. 2 dark horses, and a lot of people aren't going to believe the second one. The first one, the Columbus Blue Jackets and Jack Adams Award winner John Tortorella, just because it's torts and just because everything that looks good could blow up in a second. And finally, the biggest long shot, but don't be surprised, Barry Trotz and the Washington Capitals. We've seen a little bit of a retooling with the Capitals. If management gets a little antsy and saying, you know what, he's been here for 3-4 years now, something isn't working. They were supposed to win the last number of years. They didn't. Is he going to get one more chance? Yes. But after that, how many more chances are you going to give him? I like Barry Trotz. I love him. He's a Manitoba guy. Who couldn't love Barry Trotz? But there comes a time where the expiry date says you are expired.
Yeah, well, no, look, that is the nature of coaching in any sport. The day hired is the one day closer to being fired. They know that. It's just kind of how the business is. And I think if it were a change for Washington and you had to go and move on from Barry Trotz, you're probably not hating a Dave Tippett coming in. And look, he gets that kind of. It's not just us here, swooning all over him. He actually gets that from anybody you talk to that's even remotely linked or related to the league. Dave Tippett is the real deal. Now, is Jimmy Playfair still down there as an assistant coach?
You know what? That's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I'm not sure, just because of what's happened in Arizona, and usually if the head coach goes, they cross out the entire coaching staff because the new coach will come in and bring his own people.
I'm going to try to get a hold of Jimmy because he's a fantastic guy. Actually, the whole Playfair family's awesome.
He was an assistant under Brian Sutter Daryl Sutter when I was covering the Flames in Calgary. Great guy.
And then had to go up and be their coach. And that is
which was really weird.
Yeah, that's not a thing you want to do. Yeah. So let's before we get to Aaron Roy, who's going to come in and tell us really some incredible stories. And once again, tomorrow night, if you're in Toronto and you want to see something, maybe you haven't seen before. Now, you're from out west. Generally, if you go to the Stampede, or you can go to a lot of the events where you can see bull riding. But if you've never seen it, it really is quite fantastic. Aaron Roy is going to come here in a couple of minutes and just tell us about his unbelievable story, in which now he's actually going to be commentating. I believe he's on the microphone this time.
Yep.
But his story of what he's been through is really quite remarkable. Kind of funny that we're, we usually have Ryan, our window guy, in. Ryan comes in on Mondays.
You got it.
Here's one from Jake the Snake.
Uh-oh.
Office window painters are out in full force here in YYC, Calgary. Can you slap some paint on the hotel windows there? Yeah, we're not doing a lot of bragging on that one with the windows here. Maybe we could fix that. Is there anyone who knows anything about windows in this place? Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the excitement of the NBA draft. You know that it was almost predetermined for the most part that Fultz was going to go in number 1, so Philadelphia gets yet another. Now, they might actually be healthy this year. All Embiid, maybe they actually get everybody that they've drafted in the last 5 years actually show up. So maybe they do have a team. Here's the only thing that I would suggest, and I heard them talk a little bit about it last night on the broadcast with Jalen Rose, who I think does a really good job. who are the veterans?
Exactly.
Like what guys guide you through this? And look, it is the NBA, which means it's not like the one-offs you see when Kentucky gets every top 3 diamond triple star recruit. It's the NBA. You're going to need some veteran leadership at some point. And so last night you knew that it was going to be Lonzo Ball, but that didn't stop LeVar from getting in on the action. And so this is okay. We're going to show what LeVar had to say. This is courtesy of the NBA and of course ESPN last night. But Lonzo has to split time with his dad because, as you know, when you're dealing with Lonzo, you're also dealing with LeVar. And he has so much to say.
Spoke it into existence. Jeff?
All right, we got LeVar here. And LeVar, you already got the Lakers hat.
I'm trying to tell you, I knew this was happening before it was happening.
When did you get this hat made?
When he was a baby.
What's it like now that this has come to fruition for you? You've been talking about it for 9 months.
9 months? You're talking about 19, 20 years.
All right, 19, 20 years.
He had a microphone on me when I was talking about it.
What's it like right now that he is an LA Laker?
It's a wonderful feeling. But I already knew what was coming to him. I got 2 more boys. I got to come do the same thing 2 more years.
So you're going to get them to the Lakers too. How?
The big baller way. Ball control.
Philly is starving for
how good is Lonzo Ball going to be for the LA Lakers?
Hey, I'm going to tell you what. Lonzo Ball is going to take the Lakers to the playoffs his first year. Come see me when he does. I have another hat on to say I told you so.
There you go. There is once again also very shy, as you can notice.
Tremendously.
Okay, so we're going to go to Aaron Roy, who with the PBR right now. You're going to hear some unbelievable stories of what it really does take to be in this sport. Now, I'm going to go to a moment here, and again, he'll explain when it comes to just physically what he has been through. But 2 of our very good friends. So you've got Doug Dirks, who I've known for years, longtime friend, and Cody Snyder, a world champion bull rider. They're doing it for CBC at this point. What is it, Bold? Is that what they call that channel?
Yeah.
With the B in it?
Yes, CBC Bold.
Yeah, so that's what, because they cover the Stampede. So this goes back a bunch of years, and he's on Pop Evil. And again, why the significance of the names of the bulls, you're going to find out, because there are certain bulls, if you draw them, may not be crazy about hearing that name.
$100 in earnings, and stands to make another big paycheck today.
See Aaron Roy here, re-pulled his rope, taking that wrap across the back with his hand, put it back through the palm. Nice and sticky, got lots of rosin on there. Cram that hand down in there, and he's ready to go now. He wants to have his motor running because this bull is going to get it on. He's going to be jumping high, dropping in the front end, be getting a hold with those spurs. Stick that chest out, lift on that bull rope.
Aaron Roy, Yellowgrass, Saskatchewan on Pop Evil, just about set to go.
Way down on his front end here.
And this bull here, if he gets you rocking, he'll jerk you into your hand and get you down. No room for error on Pop Evil. Here he goes. Oh, and look at him jump in the air, and he's got him in some trouble, and then he gets back down in there, and he's going to get him rode. Rounded right into his hand, and that is an awesome ride by Aaron Roy. And that is going to be a leaderboard change right there, I think.
And you were right, the crowd goes ballistic. They love that effort by Aaron Roy of Saskatchewan, and he likes it too, with a big fist pump on the dismount.
Well, he dug it down right here. This bull had him out of there on the side, just uses that free arm for balance and just rips that move in there over his head, gets back in the middle.
And that is an 89-point ride for Aaron Roy of Yellowgrass, Saskatchewan on Pop Evil, and that vaults him into the lead on day 3.
Excellent effort by
Excellent effort by Aaron Roy, and in fact, even coming here in Toronto all the way from Yellowgrass, Saskatchewan. Aaron, thanks so much for coming on RawMikeRichards.com.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, does that mean that is that just south of like Estevan? Like whereabouts are you?
West of Estevan.
You're west of Estevan.
Just by Weyburn. About 45.
By Weyburn,
yeah,
okay.
45 minutes southeast of Regina.
So it means at some point, did you play hockey? You must have played hockey.
Never
You
did
never
growing up.
did.
Really?
Never
No.
did.
No, I play a little bit now. Well, not now, but in the past couple of years, I played a little bit of kind of like rec hockey.
Yep.
Yep.
Now the Riders they didn't win last night. Does that also that doesn't bother you either?
Doesn't bother me
That
at
doesn't
all.
bother me at all. It's unbelievable.
Okay, he's having a good day.
So the one-track mind is what it is. Well, you kind of have to have it. If you follow the PBR, you know that unlike any other sport, there is no mailing it in. It is impossible to sit on top of that mammoth animal. And people say, well, yeah, but for 8 seconds. You do it. You try it. And for Aaron, I mean, for people who don't know and watching it and actually seeing a bull rider interviewed for the first time, and there'll be a lot of that here today, just explain some of the dramatic and traumatic physical damage that has been done to you over the last, 10 years, I would want to say?
Yeah, not even 10 years.
Not even 10.
I've been pretty lucky to be kind of injury-free my whole career, and then 2013, got in a bad one at the Calgary Stampede, ended up, I broke my jaw, and dislocated my back. So that one was a tough one. It took me 18 months to come back from that one, and then just last November, I ended up getting in another wreck, and a bull fell on me, and I broke my femur.
Oh.
Because on the one, because people realize, you know, the one that just came out of the gate, what bull was that when you just kind of get out of the gate? Was that the Stampede?
Yeah, that was when I broke my back, yeah.
And the hoof comes down, like right in the middle of your body.
Yeah, it would have been okay. I would have pretty much only got out of it with a broken jaw, but his foot kind of caught my jeans when he came down, and it folded me in half, just like you're closing a suitcase, and your body doesn't bend that far.
So people who are watching this understand. So in the 8 seconds, it is a point system, and you get points accumulated by doing certain things. So if the bull comes out and isn't that, well, I'll say rambunctious, it can be a no ride, correct? It's like
if bull comes out and it doesn't perform very well, everything's marked 50 points for the bull, 50 points for the cowboy. So if the bull doesn't perform very well, you're going to get a re-ride. You're going to get the chance to ride another bull. Some guys will take it, some guys won't. But me personally, when I do that, I always take the re-ride. I want to get the best possible ride.
I think most guys will, because if you're getting points, for the lack of a better term for the bull, if it's kind of a lame ride, you need the points, and you need that by a bull performing well.
Yeah, it's exactly. You want the best possible bull you can ride to win first. That's what everybody's goal at these events is to come here, win first, get that big prize check, and most points towards the world standings.
Now, for those that follow the sport, when you say the word bodacious, there's a little bit of a shiver that goes up through people, because what I think a lot of people may not understand watching here, and Dave, I know you've seen the Stampede many, many times, is that, you know, in talking to Cody, Cody Snyder and so on, there are certain bulls, not often, that they might go out to hurt you. They do have in their DNA the way that sometimes bred, wiring, there's a lot of things that go into it, that some of them are nastier than others.
Yeah.
And in your era, and I know Bodacious was one during Cody's, are there bulls around now that still, I mean, based on how they're bred, you hear a name, you're like, okay.
Yeah, there's definitely bulls like that around. Not bred, like they don't necessarily want to hurt you.
No.
But nowadays, it's 90% of the bulls you get on in the States, it's, okay, this is a tough one, because they're breeding so advanced now that every bull you can get on, you can be over 90 points on. There's one recently, he just retired. He was a 3-time world champion, bushwhacker. He got rode maybe twice in his whole career.
Twice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was once when he was really little, and then JB Mooney rode him a while back for about 95 points. So, yeah, he's there's some calves out of him, some sons out of him going right now that kind of resemble him. And when you draw them, you're kind of like, okay, it's just a bushwhacker calf. It's gonna be a tough ride. So I hope I can do it.
The scouting report behind it is tremendous too. We should tell everybody, but the PBR Canada Monster Energy Tour happens tomorrow at the Ricoh Coliseum. That's at 7:30. Tickets start at $25. You can get them at Ticketmaster. Check out their website too, pbrcanada.com. Aaron, you're a 3-time Canadian champion. You're on the sidelines right now, serving as the events arena director. What actually goes into that, and how much are you itching to get back to what you're used to doing?
Not really itching right now. It's kind of in my head that I'm out on injury, so it doesn't really affect me too much. But what I'm doing tomorrow night is I'm the guy keeping everything running on pace. I got to keep the guys getting out on the shoot on time, when to go after breaks and everything. So kind of in charge of like the run time of the event. So I listen to the guys in the headset and then tell them when to go, and hopefully they get it done in a certain amount of time, so it's not a super long show and keeps everybody entertained.
And how long can, like, if people are going to this, because if you haven't been to it, I can't recommend it enough. It is fantastic. It's a family event too that you could bring out the kids and have a blast. What can they expect when they get there at 7:30 for time wise and action pack that actually goes into this sort of thing?
Yeah, it's 7:30 start time, so yeah, you're gonna get ready to start probably pyrotechnics, videos, rock music.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rock show.
Yeah, it is.
For people doing it moves fast. And there's a when Cody did that stuff at the Saddle Dome a couple times, they had the motorcycle stunt guys doing like flips, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, we try to incorporate stuff into the break, so it feels like you're not even at a break. We got a funny man coming, clown to call him, and he fills in those dull areas where there's kind of nothing going on. It keeps the crowd entertained, and it should be 2.5 hours at the max, and you'll watch probably 40-45 bulls buck and crown champion at the end.
Wow.
The coordination of it too. It's the one thing to watch how it goes from rider to rider, and people sort of look at what they used to call rodeo clowns. They don't call them rodeo clowns.
No, it's cowboy protectors now.
Cowboy protectors.
Yeah.
Because that's you look at what they do. I think there are times if they weren't around. I mean, because sometimes you're disoriented when you come off that bull. Like you don't know where they are.
No.
If you don't have that help, and again, as you said, they don't breed them to have a mean streak, but they are wild animals.
Yeah.
They are wild animals.
Yeah, they're animals. They're gonna go where they want to go. We can't tell them, no, you can't step on this guy right now. You got to go out here. They're gonna do that stuff. They're gonna chase you if you're in their way.
So when you're living out there in the prairies, and again, the reason I bring up hockey is because it's a province that produces a lot of hockey players. They produce, I mean, football players. There are a lot of great athletes that come out of the province of Saskatchewan. When it comes to bull riding, so there you are in Yellowgrass, and so at some point, so you're on a farm.
Yeah, I had 160 acres there.
160 acres, and was it cattle? What did you do out there?
I just have horses there now.
Just horses. So as you're growing up, and you're again looking at all the opportunities you have as a kid, when does it get in you that you think that you might want to do this? Because is this a rodeo family you're from?
Yeah, when I was younger, actually, it was I had two older brothers that did it, so it was kind of just following in their footsteps and kind of a sibling rivalry when we started. So now it's it's got into my blood, and that's what I've wanted to do ever since. Got on my first steer when I was 11, I think. Got that first ride and kind of got hooked.
11.
Yeah, kind of got hooked from there, and then once you get into like the PBR and you ride that first one in the PBR and win that big first paycheck, it's like, this is pretty easy. Work 16 seconds a weekend and win $5,000. So why would I go to a 9-to-5 job?
Amen, brother.
and so, but now to get peers for those who have driven out that way, I mean, you can go a long way in Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
see a lot of people.
You can see a long ways too, some places. So
that's right.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open country, and like where I live, the town I'm in right now, maybe 300 people.
Yeah.
So it's a small community. You know everybody in there. So when you go somewhere or come back from somewhere, you may not know them, but they're asking you how you did or what you did. So it's really great that way.
So there's a lot of travel then, because you got to, you're hitting on that road to go to some of these shows. That's a lot of travel in a year. So when you're young, so when do you realize, so are you a teenager, 15, 16, and all of a sudden the path is evident for you?
Yeah, when I was younger, riding steers, I rode steers from 11 till 16. I think I got on my first actual bull at the age 15. Kind of didn't really tell my parents about it. I just entered a rodeo, and we showed up at the rodeo, and I told my dad, yeah, I'm entered in the bull riding too. And he kind of looked at me, and I ended up placing at that rodeo, so it was kind of okay then. I won a little bit of money, didn't get hurt, so it was okay then. And
Would they have said no? Would they have said no at that time?
They might have, just because of my age, and I just started riding one-handed. So after that, it was, kind of started, graduated from high school, going to, before the PBR, it was called Professional Canadian Bull Riders, and started going to those with my brothers. And
now, helmet or no helmet at that point?
No helmet at that
helmet.
point.
Yeah.
Wow. I rode with no helmet till 2010, I think. And yeah, I broke my cheek. And after that,
was it the head snapping back from the bull?
Actually, no, I was in a good position, and just kind of the bull threw his head up, and the end of the horn caught me. Didn't hit me hard or anything, and it was a hairline fracture. Ooh. And it was probably some of the worst pain I've ever had.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
How do you practice for an event like this? Like when you're growing up and so forth, and you know, outside of being on the animal itself, is there a way you train for this or get ready for an event? Or, you know, every sport has a way of training for it. How would you do it?
Yeah, for us, it's the same as like hockey players. We go to the gym, get in shape, lots of core cardio, and then we have what are called like bucking barrels or mighty buckies. It's kind of like a simulation of a bull. You get powered ones, or you get ones that buck from people's manually doing it. But the best practice of it all is you get lower caliber bull that's pretty easy, and you just get on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, I always have friends that sometimes will do the thing, especially in Vegas, where you get on the bull,
The mechanical bull?
Mechanical bull, yeah.
Now, as a professional that you are, the difference between the mechanical bull and the real bull obviously significant. Is the mechanical bull remotely close to the experience of the real thing?
Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
So all
No,
these show-offs that are
they're they may look good on there. They'll
Yeah.
impress a lot of people, but you put a real animal underneath them, and it's a totally different thing.
I've seen some really nasty stuff. We were up in Stettler.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one of these bars, and they had the mechanical bull, and guys like me and you get on it, and we obviously don't know what we're doing, and we're like, hey, ladies, hey, ooh, look. But these pricks who run these things, and I don't know if you've ever run into this,
Oh, yeah.
they can tell when a real guy gets on there.
Yeah.
So they start doing stuff that real bulls can't do.
Yeah.
It's impossible to do. So all of a sudden you see like the speed, and all of a sudden it jerks in a way that like they try to really hammer on guys who really do it for a living or at least have an idea, and it could be really dangerous. Like I look at that, I'm like, you know, and one guy said to me, he said, "You watch, this guy's going to get on. He recognizes that guy can actually ride a little bit. You watch what he does to him. It's brutal."
Yeah. Actually, before I got sponsored by Jack Daniels, I was at a bar and had a few drinks, and it was after a bull ride, and these other guys that I was traveling with convinced me to get up on this barrel, and I got on it the way everybody else gets on it, and this guy, he's a bull rider, and he cranks right up and throws me off, and it was bucking real different. So I kind of got mad, so I got on it back again, got on it backwards. I told him to turn it up as high as you could do it, and I rode it probably 2 minutes that way, and it was the way bulls are supposed to buck, and sat there and rode it the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, see, because they get pissy. Eh?
Yeah.
They're probably failed guys who couldn't do bull riding. Now they go to a place called Lucy's or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of bars, now you're a married man now,
Yeah.
right? Was it? I saw. Is it Hallie?
Hallie, yeah.
Hallie, okay. Beautiful girl. But this is what I expect, though. I got to be honest. You're a bull rider. I want to see something good. Like Cody, when Cody shows up, I'm going, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you, during Stampede, it's like, well, who do you want to be around? Well, I'm back in the barns all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be around the Sutherlands.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great moment. They tried to do a show called Half Mile of Hell. I don't know if you ever saw it.
Yeah, I've seen a lot.
That was a great show,
Yeah.
and they only did a couple of seasons because of cost. But the voiceover, and they follow it. And I said the one thing about when you follow the Chucks, it's sort of like NASCAR a little bit.
Yeah.
They have X amount of drivers. They go out there, they try to get the points, they drive around, and you kind of follow your favorite guy. Now, Kelly's the king,
Yeah.
so it's huge. But I also know Mark real well. They're shooting Half Mile of Hell back in the barns, and I didn't realize that the cameras were rolling because I said, I'm talking to Kelly, and I'm explaining to him. I said, you know, when I'm down south, I like the girls. I tell the girls my name is Bo. He goes, what are you talking about? Well, I like it if you call me Bo Richards. He's like, Big Kelly.
Yeah.
What are you talking? What? He's getting all fiery. And I said, just if girls are around, just call me Bo. At the same time, I didn't see it. Mark had a saddle. He was walking by the camera. He goes, I'm not fucking calling him Bo Richards. It was the best because I'm telling you, just sort of the atmosphere. And that's the other thing, too, is camaraderie.
Yeah.
Is guys that you can relate to. Now, it's competitive. And I just
Yeah.
mentioned Kelly Sutherland. There are times where you go back in those barns and some of these other guys, it's tense. If someone thinks they were fouled, or Kelly always does, and you go back there, it can be real tense. Is it the same way with the bull riders? Because you're not
No.
actually going head to head like the Chucks are.
No, we're definitely totally opposite of the Chuck Wagons. We're not competing against those other guys. Yeah, we're entered against them, but we're competing against that bull and judged separately from the other guy. So you'll see, like, I've been to events where I've traveling with people, and I'll get off my bull and I'll run back to the chutes because my buddy's next row, and I'll help him get on and be cheering him on because we're going up and down the road together. If you're rooming with those guys and they're mad because you're beating them all the time, or they're not having a very good trip. You got to try and help them out, get them riding better, because you're going against the bull, not them. You're getting judged by judges.
Yeah. So tomorrow, 7:30, Ricoh Coliseum. Tickets at Ticketmaster once again. As far as riders are concerned, Canadian riders, States, New Zealand, Brazil. Also have some from Australia. What's the difference between the different riders for the different countries? Because you guys are coming from around the globe. Can you actually tell the difference between an Australia rider and a guy from Canada like yourself, or a Brazilian guy?
Lots of Brazilian riders.
Rodeo and bull riding is huge in Brazil. I've been over there once, and it was the biggest event I've ever been to. The Brazilian guys stay on a lot. That's what I noticed. It's hard to buck them off. Other than that, you can't really tell the difference between any of us, really. We all look similar when we're riding.
Sure.
Just the Brazilian guys like to ride with a different style of rope, but that's about the only difference we have. Looks the same when they're riding everything.
Not unlike NASCAR and some sports, where and any actually auto sort of racing, sponsorship is key. Like if you can't get a ride, it's real tough to make a living.
Yeah.
So how long you been with Jack Daniels then?
I've been with Jack Daniels since the very end of 2009. Yeah, so
that's a long time, and that's a pretty good relationship.
Yeah, they're outstanding people. Couldn't be happier with them, and they're kind of like family now. So something's going on, we're always communicating back and forth.
Have you ever been in Lynchburg?
Yes, I have. Actually, just received a barrel of whiskey too.
With your engraved name, that deal?
Well, I won it at the World Finals last year, and I come just the other day and took my 3-year-old boy to pick it up with me, and he was kind of asking me why I'm taking it all.
Son, if you did what I did for a living, you would need this entire barrel. Trust me on this one.
Aaron, what are some of the names the fans should be looking out for tomorrow when they go to this event at Ricoh Coliseum? Maybe some of the front runners, guys that take special note of.
Yeah, for sure. We actually got the top-rated Canadian coming tomorrow, Dakota Butter. He's from Kindersley, Saskatchewan, and
from Kindersley.
Yeah. And then we got Tanner Byrne. He's I think this is his third event back from injury. He's been the front runner in Canada for the last couple of years. He's in Ponoka tonight. Actually, he'll be coming out here. And
the Ponoka it's probably the Ponoka Stampede, is it?
Yeah, they have a PBR event tonight. It's a kickoff to their Stampede. So.
Indoors?
No, they have.
I was
going to
say it must be out there because they got a nice little. The stadium's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really neat to ride there, and that event's going on right now, and we'll have actually the majority of the riders from that coming over here tonight after the event or early tomorrow morning to ride tomorrow. So then we got like Mac Triplett, he's top 10 in the world. Reese Cates is coming. Tyler Haar, just to name a few, like Zane Lambert, top guy in Canada, coming.
Is this your first time riding in Toronto?
In Toronto area, I'm actually not riding, but
or like being part of the event.
In Toronto, yeah. I've been to Kingston, London,
because I'm trying to remember the last time you guys were here, and I don't
remember.
I don't think there's been a PBR in Toronto.
Yeah.
Lots of the guys like Zane Lambert's rode in the Western Festival or
in London.
They used to have one in town here.
Oh, so that's a long time. See,
yeah, CCA. It's a long time ago, but lots of the guys like Tanner Burns rode in it when he was younger.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look, what's the average age of a bull rider? Because it's pretty young, I think, isn't it?
Well, you can't ride in the PBR till you're 18.
Right.
So 18 to 30, 32. Usually most guys, there's the odd guy that's 35, 36 riding still, but usually around the 30 mark, everybody's trying to kind of round their career down, and because it's not very forgiving sport.
No, no, it definitely is not. You're certainly proof of that. And I was going to ask about your experiences at Ranchman's, but now that I know you're married and this gets out, you'll be telling all these stories, and Hallie's going to be going, so what was that about? When was that again?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun time. Aaron, thanks so much for coming by.
Yeah,
always
thanks for having me.
A pleasure. And as I said, the one thing about rodeo, and I'm sort of including all the events, and if they've never been to the Stampede, I mean, you talk about bucket list things. You will never see events like that up close and personal. You got, what, 10 days? Is it 10? I'm trying to
10
think.
days.
10 days, and I said every event, if you've not seen it up close, is really spectacular, and just they're tremendous athletes. You're a great athlete that goes through stuff that we couldn't even imagine. I mean, we got guys who are afraid to go in the corner. We got guys in hockey afraid to go. Yeah, but what if the guy behind you in the corner?
This guy over here,
yeah, wow.
terrified of the corner.
He would be great on a bull, though. Or is it the mutton? What's the mutton one they do?
The
at
sheep riding, yeah, mutton busting.
Mutton busting. You'd be great in mutton busting. Don't sell yourself short at Stampede. And you could call yourself Bo as well. Bo Graham? Come on, that doesn't sound good? Yeah, you'd kill out there, Russell. Well, thanks so much for coming. Actually, we'll go out with because we once again we have no. Actually, you know what? We'll go out with LeVar. Unless you found it. Did you find another ride? No, you got to be careful which one you're showing. Okay. You know what? Let's go out with LeVar Ball. This is him getting booed. This is how popular LeVar Ball. This is again the entry draft NBA last night, just before we leave. But once again, Aaron, thanks so much for coming in, and hope to talk to you again sometime. We're going to come back out to Calgary too. So.
Yeah, make sure you come out to the show tomorrow night. It's
oh,
be awesome.
Yeah, would love to do that.
Yeah.
Would love to do that. Thanks so much, Aaron.
Thank you.
Here, that's a good guy, and now, courtesy of some cell phone, we go to a bad guy. Getting booed. Look, and it was right by the. Listen to the booing. Like he's. Like it's WWE. One of the bad guys. So once again, the draft last night. There we go. So we're off now. So we got to come on here. So look, thanks to Aaron Roy joining us here in studio. Tomorrow night at the Rico Coliseum, you're going to see bull riding at its absolute best. So once again, check it out. I think Ticketmaster, I'm sure it's on there, but you're rarely going to see an event that looks like this. So I'm real pleased about that and pleased to have him there because, you know, those memories I have of being part of Stampede. I mentioned the Chuck Wagons and just anything that has to do with that lifestyle. You're going to love it. You're watching and listening rawmikeRichards.com. If you've downloaded the podcast on iTunes, I appreciate that. And remember to subscribe to not only rawmikeRichards.com, but make sure you go to YouTube and do it as well. I see some people have started doing that. That number's starting to creep up a little bit too, and we appreciate that. Last night as well. Now, this was Darren Fox, who was, like many of the Kentucky stars, the John Calipari NBA basketball factory that the Wildcats seem to have fallen in. He was drafted last night, unfortunately, by the Sacramento Kings. Now, I think that, I think it's very exciting that you sacrificed all those years doing what you had to do, sometimes going to prep school. Then you become one of the top recruits in the entire nation. You go to a basketball factory like John Calipari's Kentucky, and then you get drafted by womp, womp, Sacramento. That's got to be a terrible place to go. And the one thing about Fox, he's a tremendous, he's got one of those athletes that's long and lean. He's very fluid looking. He can block. He's got a nice touch on his shot. But the thing that I really enjoy the most is he's a great kid, Dave. And sometimes we think, okay, here's another guy, a one and done, another guy who's, just walking his way into millions of dollars eventually. But boy, what an attitude. And everyone who's around Fox says the same thing. So guess what, Sacramento? You got yourself a real a gem, I think, in the draft.
17 NBA draft. The Sacramento Kings select De'Aaron Fox from the University of Kentucky.
There's old John Calipari, who's now produced a top 10 NBA pick in each of his last 10 seasons. And De'Aaron Fox, after a single season at Kentucky in which he was terrific, goes 5th overall to Sacramento. Led the SEC in assists. He is a speed demon, and he has a magnetic personality. During recruiting with Kentucky, players were drawn to wanting to play with De'Aaron Fox. So he is the type of leader and type of personality that you would like to do something for the Kings, who haven't been to the playoffs since 2006.
Can I differ with you on one thing?
What's that?
He didn't produce them. He recruited.
Okay, he recruited.
Outstanding. Yes, he did not produce them. He recruited him, and I guess there's a huge difference. But you see and again, those are the moments that I really like. Those are the moments that are a little more human to me. They're a little more relatable because, you see also that connection between John Calipari for whatever you might feel he is like. But I will say this, it is sincere when it comes to his athletes. He does. I mean, if you get his book, you'll see just what he talks about when he talks about some of those players, and it's the one reason I love college ball. And last night, beyond Lonzo, who, by the way, is, if you saw him play with UCLA, is a legit big-time player. Like, he's going to be fabulous. The fact that he gets to stay there in Los Angeles and go to the Lake Show and might make it the Lake Show again, I don't know. Does that show influence that LeBron's going, oh, Lonzo's there?
Yes, let's follow Lonzo there.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it changes his mind. But, look, they'd only be a couple of players away because how many players do you need?
Four.
When you have LeBron, that's debatable.
2.
Him and one guy to pass it to.
So, okay, Mike. So we were graciously left off 4 tickets to the bull riding tomorrow at Rico. So if there's a way you want to give them away, now's the chance to do it, courtesy of PBR and, of course, rawmike.richards.com.
Oh, we appreciate that. How great was Aaron, though, too? I'm telling you, those guys are the best. They really are. Getting back to basketball here just shortly here on a Friday on rawmike.richards.com. The Jimmy. Now, you might be thinking, which Jimmy are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about Jimmy Butler, not the don't touch Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy likes this. Jimmy, like, one of my favorite episodes from anytime you can work. Don't touch Jimmy. But guess what? Oh, they touched Jimmy all right. And Jimmy has now gone to Minnesota. Zach LaVine, Chris Dunn go to Chicago. And there also was a draft pick thrown in there. So I look at the Timberwolves now and who they possibly could put on the floor. Jimmy Butler is that good. And I don't think they replaced him with anything that can come back the other way for Chicago. If you're a Bulls fan,
you're disappointed as hell this morning.
Again. So Jimmy Butler, and let's not forget the connection with Coach Thibodeau. And so they're now reunited. So I think that right now Minnesota just got a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, Butler, a top 15 player in the NBA. Now he's going to be surrounded around Towns, Wiggins, Rubio. I'm not going to say that the Timberwolves are going to make a dent in the Western Conference because it is a Western Conference, but I think they make the playoffs, and I think they finish 6th, which would be a pretty good standing for this team.
Ricky Menudo. Yeah, I know. Rubio. Now has guys to actually distribute the ball to him. I mean, that's going to help his game quite a bit. And I will say this. He has matured since the first time he came into the league. And, they were showing how he used to dribble down and then do that, around the back, like when you're a kid, when you dribble the ball and before you go up, you put the ball around it. Oh, I saw that, and it just made me sick. That's the kind of shit that I just hate. I'm going, okay, what league? What is it? Is that a high school game? So he has sort of learned and got rid of a lot of that stuff, got rid of, quite honestly, a lot of the European stuff that is not NBA, but now it is. And I think all of a sudden, legitimately, you've got some interesting players in Minnesota. The one thing that I think is LeBron's looking at it and going, really? So what happened to Jimmy? Jimmy now is not even in your he's sitting back in his lazy chair going, okay, well, if Jimmy had gone to Boston,
yep.
If all of a sudden Isaiah Thomas at, what is he, 6'1", whatever. I mean, and look, heart of a lion, beautiful creative player, Isaiah Thomas. But when he distributes the ball, I don't think there's anyone on that team that Cleveland's afraid of. So once again, you get back into the conversation in the East, which is this. Unless LeBron decides that he has always wanted to be a bus driver or a mailman, until he retires or whatever he's going to do to not be in Cleveland, we're now looking next year, Dave, at the East, and I'm saying, well, we'll wait till the almost uselessness of what happens in regular season, and I hate to put it that way.
Which is kind of disappointing.
Which is
that's
very
like
disappointing.
6 months,
Yeah.
5 months worth of basketball.
So another year just to see them go, and probably Golden State again.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think when you take away the engaging part of, ooh, who's going to win? You take that out of sport, and that's when you find people not giving a shit.
It sucks, exactly. The two teams that I will be watching during the regular season that I never thought I'd actually have this kind of conversation, I'll be watching the Philadelphia 76ers, and I'll be watching the Minnesota Timberwolves just because of what's happened in the last 24 hours.
So I'm receiving a tweet here. What does this mean?
Tell me more about this Sends tweet.
I don't know. It's Bernsey sending something.
Is it anything good?
Okay, I don't know. Bernsey, what are you sending me? Why is there just a picture of Calgary and Vans? I don't. Bernsey, what's going on in your life? Like, how much? I know it was your birthday the other day. Maybe you're upset.
Maybe.
Maybe you feel the years have not been kind. I can't help that. I don't know what you're doing here. Also, last night, and I tweeted it out. I thought it was pretty cool. I love summer nights, and summer nights that are filled watching football. And even though the first half was not exactly a thriller, I will say that. But here's why it was good news for Mike. Yes, I started my first parlay.
Yes.
I started my first parlay.
And it was an under.
And it was an under 50.5. Wow. And I said to myself, so you got Kevin Glenn at the age of 74 playing Darian Durant at 47. And they're both on new teams. What's his name? Rob Bagg.
Rob Bagg,
not playing. So how are they scoring 50 some odd points? They're not. So
Nope.
It was a bit of a sleeper, but like a lot of CFL games, has the big finish, and they miss.
Yes.
I mean, a heartbreak for Rider fans. Lose 17-16 to the Owls. But as I said, when it comes to football conversations, Dave, and I know we're exactly the same, we like them all. Whatever you want to talk about in terms of football, I enjoy that conversation. So if you want to talk about college ball, south of the border, one of my favorite things, as you know. But if I can talk CIS football and see what the young guys are doing up here in Canada, I enjoy watching some of those programs, even though I don't think they get, in some places, the love that maybe they deserve.
Bingo.
But I'll watch high school football. Hey, I coached it when I was in Calgary. I love CFL. I've been going to the games since I was 8, I suppose. And, of course, then there's the NFL. I don't necessarily look down on one kind of football over the other. When I hear that, you are what you are. You're a fan of a league. So if you love the NFL, you're in a fantasy league, you're in a fantasy pool, you do all those things, that's fine. But if you want to have a football conversation, that means we can talk about maybe Auburn, or I can talk about what they do at the U of S, as in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. You can talk about these kinds of things. And that's what I miss sometimes, is having real football conversations and not just, who am I starting in the fantasy league? Not that I don't appreciate it. It's just not a football conversation for me. That's why I don't piss on the CFL, because, look, the moment you start doing that, then you're an elitist as far as I'm concerned. You're not getting the fact that half the guys in that league went to, I don't know, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Texas, Oklahoma. No good.
You name it.
Guy
They've
coming
been
out
there.
of LSU.
Exactly.
And then sometimes, Dave, and I don't look at it as a minor league feeding league, but if someone said, okay, so we had Cam Wake come up here, or the various players who come up and then go down and sometimes not only play in the NFL, but star in the NFL, and I think Cameron would be in that category.
Yep.
For Miami all those years, it's kind of cool to see. Sometimes you get a guy like a Jeff Garcia who came up and played. And now Doug Flutie's a different story, because it's like a movie.
That guy was everywhere.
That was you know what? And this is the sad thing that I think about too, because a lot of people who've known me for years know that he's one of my favorite athletes because the story's incredible. And I've always said that his life, along with Darren, but more about Doug, how his life played out, that it would be an unbelievable movie because it doesn't seem real in the way that things came down. The saddest thing about it is how it ended for his parents.
Isn't that sad, though?
That's what I'm saying.
That was, gee whiz.
If you saw the movie,
Unreal.
and let's say it's 50 years down the road, they're like, well, why did they make up that whole dramatic thing about the parents all of a sudden dying within like a couple of hours of each other?
No, it's true.
Because it's true.
Yeah, that's the saddest part. That's unbelievable.
And that's what breaks my heart about the whole thing is I know it's going to be a movie. And there'll be some things that appear to be unrealistic because of what it would be like for Doug Flutie playing quarterback after he even played in the CFL, and he goes down, and he plays in Buffalo, and he plays in San Diego. As one guy close to the league, that is the NFL, said, for Doug Flutie to be able to throw that ball and do what he did, and let's say San Diego, because he had a chance in Buffalo, but the whole Rob Johnson, that was just a debacle. He said it must have been like trying to throw a football out of the top of an elevator. Because you could only see that part. If he doesn't create a lane to get rid of the ball,
there's no, you can't see.
They're 6'6", 7, 8, 340 pounds. Now, if you've not seen that up close, I can tell you, it is one thing to watch it on television, but when you stand on the sidelines, and I'll say the CFL, because some of those guys the offensive linemen are just monsters.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy is 300 plus and 6'6", I'm 5'8". the son disappears. And I'm not sure what size they say he was. But, sometimes you get roster sized a little bit, and I don't think they said he was 6 feet. I don't know if they did.
That would have been an insult to measuring tapes around the world. There you go.
But it is that. To me, getting out there, watching the CFL, and the incredible job that the TSN has done, now starting to get the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturdays. I mean, I realize there's always going to be an argument about playing on Sunday. I mean, in some parts of the world. You put a game on Sunday in Calgary, in Edmonton, when you put it in Winnipeg or Saskatchewan, they don't have a problem with it. In Toronto, they have a problem with it. And you hear all these arguments. But what will draw is enormous numbers in Western Canada. That's the one thing to keep in mind. So it'll always be a fight for the Argos. As you saw my ticket, now I believe I have 2 games left. I took 5 games, which for me is... do
you have tonight's game, Calgary at Ottawa?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have Calgary. I got in, I want to say, at -5.5.
Ooh, okay.
Calgary 5.5, and then I got the Ticats who play in Toronto.
On Sunday afternoon, 4 o'clock start.
Yep, Sunday afternoon, and I've got -3.5. I do like the Cats, and I do like Calgary, and I think, Ottawa had a magnificent year last year. You don't think Calgary... Stamps a little pissed off, got a little angry about how that thing turned out. So I think this could be a revenge game.
And there'll be more than the 34 points scored yesterday, whatever it works out to. Yeah.
Well, that's going to see some points.
Yes.
That's going to see some points. But as I said, a 5-game parlay, and again, gambling on football. Oh, my God. It's so good. Do it. If you're little children right now watching this show, go into Mummy's purse. Take out some paper money. Maybe one with like a green one. Make sure it's a green one.
Okay, green one.
So, and that's called 20. Can you say 20? Yes, you can. 20. And then you go to Max and say, I'd like a Proline ticket. And you listen to Uncle Mike, and I'll tell you what to do.
Are you going to give him the game number 2 and to shade the box that says V? Dave, or maybe even V+?
Dave, I can't do everything.
Okay.
Children's football picks. I like it. That's good.
Best friends. Yep.
I can do that. I love the children.
You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep.
I believe that they're our future. That's what I believe. Aaron Roy in today promoting the PBR event at Ricoh Coliseum tomorrow night. If you're in the Toronto area and haven't seen it, you want to do something different, looks like the weather's going to be junk once again. What is the problem?
I don't know.
It has just been wet, and it was gross this morning, so... If you're looking for something to do that's going to be a little bit different, PBR, Ricoh Coliseum tomorrow night, it's going to be a good one.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Also enjoy that entry draft, Dave. Maybe we'll get a chance to talk to Owen Tippett or Nick Hague. No, Nick's already gone. No, Nick's already property, correct?
No, Nick's not property.
No, he's okay. That's right too. Well, we'll find out. Have yourself a great weekend. Remember, subscribe to RawMikeRichards.com. Have yourself a great weekend.